Hello, this is Andrew, and this is another Devlog video. I believe in the last Devlog video, I spoke about the beginnings of the Ascension system, and just to recap, in Slayer Knight, one of the main systems is going to be Ascension, where if you do things that the game likes, for instance, hit enemies, jump off of walls, dashing, especially dashing through attacks, you begin to fill up an invisible gauge called the Ascension meter. Um, this won't be directly told to the player, but if you watch the knight, if you keep doing things the game likes, your character will slowly and surely become more and more aflamed, where there's a point where they stay aflamed and they enter their quote-unquote ascension mode. So uh, this ascension mechanic, I'm still working on it, and I think during the last devlog video, I introduced the beginnings of it, where I spent most of the time working on the different shaders and special effects. Um, all of which still need to get worked on, but I think I have enough where I can actually start working on the main mechanics that are associated with Ascension. And I think I briefly spoke about some of those conditions that fill up the Ascension gauge. So if I remember correctly, I think last week I had stuff like attacking, dashing. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure I did that recently. Well, I'll just start from the beginning. At this point of this devlog video, in order to get Ascension, I think I have, 90% of all the conditions that I want. That 10% there is just in case I'm going to add something later. But for the most part, I think I have all the different conditions, which include getting collectibles, dashing, jumping off of walls, obviously hitting enemies, dashing through enemies' attacks. One of the things that I added recently was when you do a drop dive, like so, the longer you do it, you begin to build up your ascension gauge that way. And the idea is that whether you're fighting, although hitting enemies is the most efficient way of building it, but even if you're fighting or you're just doing platforming, everything that you do in the game will help you build up your ascension. So it's actually fairly easy to build up, um, where attacking has a higher priority. Well, not higher priority, but like you build up the meter faster if you hit enemies compared to just dashing around and jumping off the wall. And this mechanic is supposed to encourage the player, really incentivize the player to actually interact with the game as much as possible. Because by doing so, you can obtain Ascension, and Ascension effectively is a huge buff to the knight. So you want to maintain it as long as you can. Obviously, if you stand around for too long, if you notice, there's that little, I call it the decay effect. Each time you decay, you lose I think 1/4 of your ascension meter in the background. So if you either stand still for too long, like you're not dashing at the very least, or you get hit, then your character will decay, and then you have to rebuild up that ascension. Um, so the way that the ascension, like the threshold points for obtaining ascension work, when you have full ascension, you can take, I think, 2 hits, I believe, before you fully lose it. So you don't lose it right away, but it could, you don't want to keep getting hit, obviously. By this devlog video, not only do I have a bunch of the conditions put in place, but I also have some of the major effects, which I'll show after I just give a brief explanation. I still haven't mastered the art of talking while also playing the game at the same time. Something I should work on, but I'll work on that like over time. So one obvious thing, well, I mean, I guess they're both obvious, but one of the simplest effects of Ascension is once you maximize your Ascension, in the background there's actually like 2 different tiers. The highest tier of Ascension, there's a small graphical difference when you obtain it, but the big thing is when you get it, your character will start to regenerate. Currently, I have like a placeholder animation to indicate that you're regenerating. After the game dev meetup that I had last week, somebody played the game and mentioned that, I kind of need to clear up some of the effects so it's really clear, what the health amount is for the knight. And I think once I actually add like a health gauge, I'm going to change how the generation effect looks so it fits more with that animation. But the main thing is once you obtain Ascension, or the highest tier of Ascension, I think it's 8 seconds or so, you'll begin to regenerate. Like every 8 seconds, you gain 1 heart. So the idea is that you keep building up your Ascension, or at the very least maintaining it. And while it's maintained, you'll start to heal up, and that's how the knight will get healed. I really don't want to have like health packs or anything. I really want to tie getting health based on based on the player interacting more and more with the game. And if they really want to get healed, um, the best way is probably just losing and just starting over from the beginning. That will get back your health instantly, and there's no punishment for dying apart from all the enemies respawning. Alternatively, you can just build up your Ascension, and then when your Ascension is maxed out, then you'll slowly regenerate. But it is, more efficient to like just die if you're just looking to get back all your health back. The regeneration is mainly there to kind of top yourself off after progressing through the game. After playing it for a bit, that's really the main intention. Or if the fight's very long, your character doesn't just get nicked to death effectively. In addition to the regeneration, the cooldown gets lessened, right? The cooldown specifically on the dash, I should say. So there's about 1 second cooldown for the dash, and I believe during Ascension it goes down to I think 2/3 of that. So, and with a lower cooldown on the dash, that gives the knight more mobility, so you can dash more often. And this is especially useful for just getting around quicker. I'm thinking about adding another feature where if you kill an enemy using your final attack in your combo, you get an instant reset on your dash, but that might not. I have to think about it. I do want to add an extra condition that gets unlocked when you hit Ascension that allows you to basically move around faster after you kill enemies, but I haven't thought through everything just yet. And the final addition to Ascension, or final benefit, I should say, is that there's a new combo string that the knight gets, which I'll demonstrate once I get the Ascension. So this is the normal attack string, right? You just slash a few times. I'm kind of still playing around with some of the numbers. I want to encourage the player to at least do 2 strikes, or at least use their combo. So if you notice, there's a slight delay in the beginning, and this is supposed to encourage the player to use multiple strikes as opposed to just hitting once, right? You really want to try and get in a position where you can hit the enemy multiple times. So, the first strike has a little bit of a delay on it, and the subsequent strikes are just instant, effectively. The advantage of the Ascension combo is that you have more strikes, and they're a little bit quicker compared to the normal combo. And, more strikes and quicker strikes equals higher DPS. So Ascension effectively gives you higher damage. But without further ado, I'm thinking for this devlog video, I'll just run through the level again, just to kind of really demonstrate, what the Ascension looks like when playing the level. I am still very much balancing the numbers. At this point, I kind of feel like it's a little bit too strong. When I watched my friend play, the day before yesterday, he did pretty well. He was pretty aggressive, which is what I very much liked. But there are a few cases where I felt like it was too easy just to kind of, bash your way through enemies. Since when you get hit, you're invincible, but you still have Ascension. So not only can you regain the Ascension gauge that you lost pretty easily, but you also get regeneration. So I'm gonna have to nerf things just a little bit, such that you can't just bash your head through everything. I do want aggressive play, but at the same time though, I want it to be thoughtful aggression, right? The player shouldn't be able to just run their head through the wall of enemies, just spamming their attack. They'll need to at the very least dodge some things and maintain their Ascension by not getting hit too many times. But that's all work in progress. I guess without further ado, I'll just run through the level. Alright, so I'll talk a little bit, just so I can practice speaking while also playing through games. Alright, so you notice, each time I do something, the character has that little flame effect. That's the Ascension turning on slowly, and this is what Ascension fully looks like. Alright. And there's that new combo. enemy. I need to add like a different sound when enemies die. Right now it's not super clear. I mean, there's, of course, enemies that are about to die flash red, but I think I need a lot more audio cues. Fun fact, for those who don't already know, most of my art, like, I would say 90% of it, is art that I purchased from somebody off of itch.io. But the 10% of the art I did actually draw myself. And one such example is the stab animation is something that I drew, which I'm kind of proud of, honestly, because I'm not much of a artist, right? I just really like the code. But for the most part, you can't really tell that that stab animation is not part of the original sprite sheet. I also need to really work on the sound design. So that sword sound begins to sound very repetitive. Really should be dashing a lot more often than I am. So that little heart above my head is the regeneration effect. Oops. One thing I need to work on is, I do have plans of adding, making the drop dive an actual attack. Right now the drop dive is just kind of like a movement ability, but it really does make more sense. But it really does make sense to have the drop dive be an attack that does damage. And when I say drop dive, I don't know if I already explained it, but holding down while falling causes the knight to like drop down pretty rapidly. Oh, missed those coins. Go down here. The first part of this level is very linear, which I do plan on, I meant to jump over there. The first part of this level, like I said, is very linear. The second half of this level really opens up, and the second half is more representative of, on how I actually want the levels to be like. Like right there would be a really great place to have the drop dive do damage, so here's like two different directions I can go. But I'm gonna go this way since there's more fighting going this direction. Ah. That healing is pretty strong. Can I get up here? No, I cannot. I have to go this way. getting that. I should be dashing a lot more often. Here. Ah. Oops. I won't go this way. Oh my gosh, I almost got hit there. Honestly, yeah, I probably need to nerf the Ascension effect a little bit more. Just because, like, I got hit twice there, and I still didn't lose it. Yeah. I think I really, But I think what I want is be able to get the Ascension quickly. But you should be able, you should lose it quickly too. Oops. Ah. Oh my god. And that's it. Alright, well, it took a bit longer than expected to get to the level. Honestly, even though I wasn't speaking, I did not play it super well. But I mean that's a demonstration of the full level, including the Ascension mechanic, a mechanic that I'm still working on. I think I'm planning to work on adding the health gauge next, since I was really hoping to not include a health gauge, since when you take damage, your character begins to glow a color indicating that you took damage. Your character begins to glow a color depending on what your actual health is. For instance, if you take 2 damage, your character will start glowing orange, indicating that you're halfway dead. And then when you start glowing red, that indicates that one more hit will definitely kill you. Unfortunately, with the Ascension flame effect, you basically can't like see the character. I mean, it's still possible to see the flashing, but it's not like super clear. So I think I'm going to add a health gauge that appears after you take damage or when you gain health back or something. I think that's my current plan. I might end up changing it later, but I think that's what I'll work on next. There's going to be a point where I'm going to try go over all the sound effects and really add some juice, because I think one of the complaints that I got is that like the hits don't feel damaging enough, which kind of makes sense since, you know, the slashes just by themselves I think sound fine, but when they hit things, I feel like they need to be a bit more chunkier. And when you kill an enemy, especially when you're killing an enemy while ascended, I think there needs to be like a different sound there to really sell the idea that you're in this super Saiyan form, and 2, that you know you applied like a lot of damage, right? You know, you need to almost feel it, right? So that's all features that are in the work, but I think for now I'm going to call it quits on this devlog video. So thanks to those who took the time to watch it slash listen to me ramble, and I hope you guys have a nice day.